With every breath I take, I will give thanks to God above. For as long as I shall live, I will testify to love.
Hi, this is Pastor Wayne Drain, and we've been seeing some wonderful things happen in our church. A spirit of generosity just seems to be happening among us. And this is Samuel Garmon, one of the members of our church, and something pretty special happened to him a few weeks ago, and I'm going to let him tell you about it. Samuel?
A couple of weeks ago, Father's Day, it was a Sunday, I woke up and I had been saving up to get my braces. And I told God, I was like, well, God, you know, I have this amount, and if I tithe, then I won't have enough to cover the amount it costs to get my braces. So I get here and I greet at the door. Then when I come in, you know, we're sitting here and Chris Abington, he says, well, you know, the Lord's put it on my heart to have some people, you know, stand up. And that's when he called for the single parents. And I'm like, okay. I'm still not thinking anything, you know. So I'm sitting there and then he says, y'all give, you know, and so it's time for y'all to receive. So he calls all of us up. I wasn't the only one, of course. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, uh-oh. And then when he says, you know, I just want y'all to be in a position just to receive. So when he called us up and when he made that statement, I knew then that God was really showing me that how much he loved me and how much he will provide for any of his children. So that day will always be remembered in my heart, in my mind. I mean, I will never forget it. I will just never forget it. It's kind of overwhelming. That's why I cried the whole time, because I knew what was taking place. I knew, and all, it's not just about the money that was given, but it was what people were saying to me and probably to the other people who were standing there, you know, how much love was shown, period. Not just with finances, but with wisdom. I mean, with just goodness all over. So it was just awesome.
What'd you do with that money after you received it?
Oh, I had more than enough to tithe, of course, and then I had more than enough for my braces. But the next day, someone called me and said, well, you know, I'm short this amount and I need to go to this destination. And I was like, well, of course, I had just been blessed the day before, so I had money to give him whatever he needed. And then once I was able to bless him, and I asked him, I said, well, was that enough? He said it was more than enough. So it was just awesome all the way around.
Thanks, Samuel. Appreciate it, buddy.
No problem.
My name is Holli Lee. I am a single mother. I have 4 girls. The morning that Chris had called the single mothers up to the front of the church, before church had started that day, I was having a rough morning because I just recently moved into my home. I've started completely over from scratch. So I've had to buy everything from nothing. So like I said, I started from scratch, and I was having a moment that morning before church, crying and wondering how I was going to do this, how was I going to feed my children, with my income, with work, you know, and I was just kind of like, God, what do I do? And I almost didn't come to church that day. And my 6-year-old was just real persistent that I take her to church. So I finally said, okay, fine, let's go get dressed. I just threw some clothes on and I came to church. And when Chris announced that the single mothers, you know, something about the single mothers and stand up and come to the front, I just immediately felt overwhelmed emotionally. And I couldn't stop crying because I could feel something amazing that was about to happen. And when people started donating the money, it was very emotional for me because I felt all my fears and all my emotions of not being able to feed my children and all that just start to melt away. When I left church that day, I was able to go to the store and buy groceries. I was able to buy groceries. I paid a couple of bills that I wasn't sure I was going to be able to pay. It really blessed me, and I'm so grateful, and I was so very grateful and still am grateful for everything that was donated that day. And God just continues to bless my life. We now have a new daughter, and I just continue to be blessed by the Lord. And whenever I think that I can't make it, He always shows up right on time, and that is the truth. God knows when to show up, and it reminds me that He has not left me, and I'm not alone in this world, even though I do feel alone at times being a single mom, but I'm not alone. And I thank you all. Thank you.
With every breath I take, I will give thanks to God.